think the most important ideas I've learned in the last 10 years
Mm-hmm.
have almost a majority of them have come from econ. They have come from complexity, and they have come from computer science. Okay,
From what, sorry?
computer science.
Computer
Okay,
science. Okay.
I think the way that econ is almost fascinating when I feel that econ is amazing once you go into it in a self-learning mode, because
Yes.
there is a history, there is a tradition, there is a philosophy that you're actually trying to really. It doesn't matter whether you're able to model it or not. It's the principles behind that really affect you, because you're able to think both in micro and macro. So you have to be
Yep.
able to zoom in and you have to be able to zoom out. You have to be able to understand agent interactions and stuff like that, right?
Yep.
You are currently a professor, and if I were to say that, hey, I'm going to open the econ for everyone university,
Mm-hmm.
and Ashish is going to with Ashish, and
Mm-hmm.
Ashish now has a complete clean slate to rethink how economics is actually taught. I'll be specific to Indians.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, how would Ashish structure this curriculum?
Especially in the age of chat GPT, this is a fairly easy job. If you give people basic training in, I would say, 6 to 7 principles of microeconomics and 3, what I refer to as big picture questions in macroeconomics, and then say, all right, this is enough. Now go and explore the world. It would be enough with one major caveat, which this is a bit of a frustration and a sore point for me. So I'm going to go off on a bit of a rant. Us professors of economics, we tell people that it is important to learn economics, but we fail to explain what for. Economics is a means to an end. Economics is what teaches you how to live a better life. The definition of better might change person to person. As the definition goes, it's up to you to choose what you want out of your life. Once you have chosen what you want out of your life, how to go about getting it is where economics really comes into play. Economics is not about memorizing diagrams and equations and solving problems at the end of a chapter. Economics is about learning how to use the tools and principles of economics to drive better outcomes, however you define the word better, in both your own life and in your society. So economics isn't a subject that you master. Economics is a subject that you apply. And what do you apply? One insight that I would want every Indian to gain, and I'm limit myself to just one, is understand that the world and life is a non-zero sum game. When you do something in terms of a transaction, you benefit, so does the other party. The more we do of it, the richer the world gets. I would argue one thing that holds us back as a society and a culture is we have a very zero sum mindset. मेरे को जीतने के लिए तेरे को हारना जरूरी है. एंट्रेंस एग्जाम अगर हम दोनों लिखेंगे तो फॉर मी टू विन यू हैव टू लूज. That mindset needs to change. And to me, if I have to teach people economics, and if there's just one idea that I want to restrict myself to, it'll be this: understand that life is a non-zero sum game.
Absolutely, because I think if you read, in my opinion, if you read any of the great texts, any of the great papers,
Mm-hmm.
it's almost as if they're telling you how do you embody the best ideas in yourself, work on that, and see how it actually affects society at large.
Yeah.
And when you don't have any of the other masala that is added to any econ curriculum in terms of what are the research outcomes you're doing for your professor or whatever,
Right.
I think it is very unfair that economics is actually called the dismal science. It's actually more of an awakening science. Because,
Yeah.
for example, my favorite economics anecdote is
Mm-hmm.
there is an interview between Peter Robinson and Thomas Sowell.
Mm-hmm.
And, Sowell apparently was still a Marxist when he went to do his PhD at the University of Chicago. And
Yes.
then he went to work, I think, at the Federal Reserve or some other government, and he saw how ineffective it was that he immediately changed his views and he became like a complete capitalist, saying that this shit is not going to work at all. It's not going to fly. It doesn't make sense. I don't know why I'm even supporting this. So
Correct.
I think one point, if I may add to the layering that you provided in terms of a curriculum, it is
Mm-hmm.
use the tools of economics, the principles, the ideas, and the frameworks to form your own worldview.
Mm-hmm.
Then go out and test that worldview,
Yeah.
wherever it may be, and
Yep.
see whether it holds consistency or not. And
Correct.
where it is consistent, understand why it's consistent. Where it's inconsistent, understand why it's inconsistent, and make changes suitable in whatever dimension of better you feel is appropriate. So you have a better model of understand what works for you, what works for your compatriot, and what works for society as a whole.
Yeah.
Why is this kind of approach is self-discovery a better way of learning economics, or the curriculum model better in terms of learning economics?
Right now, I would say with the caveat, the self discovery is a better way, but that's because my tribe, myself included, we are failing. We don't teach people the point of economics. People will respond to their incentives. There is no such thing as a free lunch. The world is a non-zero sum game. If you want to communicate to society at large, prices are an amazing way to communicate. Markets sometimes fail, and you should take, when possible, the long-term view. Time matters, in other words. This is a worldview. Now, sure, disagree with this worldview if you like, but if you do, go out and ask, does this worldview help you understand why people behave the way they do? And if it does, then perhaps this economic model works.
Test the hypotheses out.
Yeah, but this unfortunately is not what people think of when they think of economics. They think of indifference curves and diagrams and equations and textbooks. But no, sure, I'm not saying that is not a part of economics, but 1.4 billion Indians need to understand that economics is this, what I just described, and learn how to apply it in the context of your own life. We don't do it often enough as teachers.
I don't know if somebody else has said this, but I generally tell people that if you really think of economics, economics is not just the wealth of nations. Economics is also the theory of moral sentiments.
Moral sentiments, absolutely.
And Russ Roberts, I have to give a shout out to Russ Roberts' beautiful book on how Adam Smith can change your life. It's an amazing book. I think I revisit that book every now and then. And so this is a free shout out. I don't even know if that's the correct term, but shout out to Russ Roberts and his incredible book on how Adam Smith can change your life.